The Big WECK presents Buffalo on the Rise, sponsored by Dr. Kaplansky Dental Implants. Get new permanent teeth in 24 hours with our exclusive Teeth Now process. Welcome to the television show devoted to local business, Buffalo on the Rise, with your host, Joe Chille. There's an entrepreneurial spirit in Western New York that's putting our area on the cusp of greatness. Each week, Buffalo on the Rise features local business leaders and decision makers who are shaping our future. If it's about local business, we'll talk about it right here, right now, during Buffalo on the Rise.
I'm Joe Chille. On this edition of the Big WECK's Buffalo on the Rise, I'll introduce you to some interesting people from hometown businesses with interesting stories to tell. Like the folks from Cross The Line Rodeo, with everything you need to know about the Beat the Beast Bull Rider Finals at Riverworks. Make your smile this fall shine bright. Dr. Kaplansky is here to help. And we'll savor the flavor of what's to come at the Clay Handi Restaurant with their Pakastani menu. All on this edition of the Big WECK's Buffalo on the Rise. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Joe Chille, mornings from 7 to 9 with Buffalo's classic oldies from the 60s and 70s on the Big WECK. Joining us on the Big WECK's Buffalo on the Rise today is Louis Backless, who is the owner and producer of Beat the Beast Bull Riders Tour Finals. It is the finals, right?
Yes, that's exactly right.
You know, I admire what you do. You know, and these shows, I understand, are unbelievable. I've talked to people that have been to them, and they said, you know, because so many things nowadays that people watch, like if they watch WWE or something on TV, it's a certain amount of fake.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's no covering up.
There's
what happens,
no covering.
happens.
Yep.
Right? How did you get started?
I was born and raised in the sport of rodeo. My dad was a professional bareback rider, so he rode bucking horses for a living, and my mom was a barrel racer. So I was born and raised into it, and how I got to putting on the shows and doing the productions, I don't know. It just, everybody's got to do something in life, and that was just my calling.
So have you ridden?
Oh yeah, I used to ride. I competed in rodeo my whole childhood life, and I rode bulls for about 10 years. I team roped with my dad since I was 4 years old. So I've been, you know, pretty much everything there was to do in rodeo I've done at one time or another.
You know, you look like you're in pretty good shape. I don't see, you know, any broken bones that are obvious, you know. Is it a tough sport to get used to or to get trained on?
You got to be really tough, physically and mentally. It's the most dangerous sport in the world. So yeah, it's not a question of when you're going to get hurt or if you're going to get hurt. It's when and how bad you're going to get hurt.
It's when you're going to get hurt.
Yeah, you're going to get hurt.
When is the event taking place?
So the BTB Finals, which is Beat the Beast Bull Riders Tour Finals, is taking place October 10th and 11th. It's 3 performances. It's a Friday night at 7 o'clock is opening night. And then there's a 1 o'clock performance on Saturday afternoon. And then 7 p.m. is the championship round Saturday night.
And where's it located?
It's located at Buffalo Riverworks, right in downtown.
Oh, yeah.
Right in downtown Buffalo.
You know, are there real cowboys there?
Oh yeah, there are real cowboys that are coming. We got cowboys coming from Mexico, Canada, you know, right here in the United States, Pennsylvania, New York. They're coming from quite a ways to be at this event.
Because we here in Western New York may think that, you know, you put on a cowboy hat and you're a cowboy, but that's not the case.
Not the case.
It's not the case. You're kind of born and bred a cowboy, right?
Yes, sir. Exactly. Been a cowboy my whole life. That's what I've done day in and day out my entire life.
Where are you from originally?
Actually, Western, you know, Warsaw, New York is where I was born and raised in Warsaw. And my dad actually was originally from North Tonawanda. And
North Tonawanda. That explains the kind of drawl. No, it doesn't explain.
No, the draw comes from rodeoing down south when I was a kid, because like we would travel to Florida and stuff, and so all my buddies, they were all Southerners, so that's where I get the accent a little bit.
Is this, you know, I don't want to, you know, use the wrong term. Would you think of it as being patriotic?
Very patriotic. You know, that's one thing about rodeo and cowboys is we always pay tribute to our heroes that protect our country. You know, the armed forces, they mean a lot to us, because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. So yeah, we make sure that when the national anthem is up, you know, everybody takes their hat off and we stand for it. we pray before every show starts up. It's definitely patriotic. That's one thing. If you don't like patriotic, then you wouldn't like this show, because
I think, when you think of, cowboys, when you think of country music, when you think of things that you think of apple pie and, America and Uncle Sam, and I think you generally think about America that way. What can fans expect to see when they come to the show?
Well, they can expect to see roughly a 2-hour show. It's the most exciting thing that they'll ever see. I mean, some of the rankest bulls in the Northeast are going to be there, bucking bulls, and then some of the best cowboys from the Northeast are going to be competing. A lot of dirt flying, a lot of excitement, and I mean, the adrenaline. I don't know how else to explain it other than it's an adrenaline rush.
I guess when you say rankest bulls, it's good, better than rank cowboys, right?
Right. Well, both. I mean, you can put it both ways. I mean, there's some boys that can ride bulls really good that are going to be at this event, so it's going to be, everybody's going to get their money's worth out of the tickets for sure.
When you talk about the production itself that you put on, how many people are involved in this?
There's a lot of people. Just in my group alone, we've got 10 to 15 main crew guys that run this production. Plus, there's a lot of people behind the scenes that nobody even notices. But yeah, it's a big production to go along with it.
And what about the audience? The average age. Are you talking about people of all age groups?
All ages. I mean, kids of all ages, from toddlers, to 80 years old, come to watch these events. It's for everybody to come.
How close are you when you're actually watching the event?
Well, at Riverworks, you're going to be really close. We're going to be set up in the hockey rink there at Buffalo Riverworks. So the grandstands, the balcony, and the floor seating, it's all like right there around the arena. So you're going to be up close and personal with 2,000 pounds of bull. It's going to be pretty wild.
All of a sudden, I feel thin. If you have kids coming or other people coming, are there things they can see before or after the show?
So after the show, there's going to be autographs that the kids can get autographs from the contestants and stuff. There's live music that's going to be playing after the rodeo is over with. Beforehand, there's some vendors, and if anybody's been to Buffalo Riverworks, they know the different game rooms and stuff that they got in there for people and kids, and so there's stuff to do for them. Prior to the show and afterwards. And
give us the date once again.
October 10th and 11th. So there's 3 performances. Friday night kicks us off at 7 o'clock at October 10th. Then October 11th, Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock. And then Saturday night at 7 p.m.
All right, Lou Backless, thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me.
For more information and pre-sale tickets, there is limited seating. Go to www.buffaloriverworks.com. Sponsorship and promotional consideration for the preceding segment was provided by Cross The Line Rodeo Company. And join me weekday morning, 7 to 9 a.m. with Buffalo's classic oldies from the 60s and 70s on the Big WECK. I'm Joe Chille. You can listen to me mornings on the Big WECK. Joining us today on the Big WECK's Buffalo on the Rise is Dr. Kaplansky. How are you today?
Good. How are you, Joe?
Thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. One of the things that I noticed when I was prepping and doing some of the research for the show itself is the fact that there are a lot of national firms. There are a lot of firms that come in now and they're advertising in it. And I always wonder, I like to have local people that I can call on. If I have a dentist, I want to go to the same dentist all the time. I don't want to go to, the dentist of the day, right, if you will. So what sets you apart from like the national firms?
Well, absolutely. So there's a big move in dentistry now is to consolidate, and basically dentists are selling their practices to larger companies. They're called DSOs. And most of the offices that you see out there, even though they might say Dr. So-and-so, they actually are part of a huge conglomerate, and it's a big corporate organization where profit is the most important thing. So we are a privately owned, very personable and local dental office. You always see the same people when you come, and we take good care of patients.
What do you think, we know that you're in Gasport, and to some people Gasport may seem like it's a way off or whatever, but you have people from all over Western New York and Southern Ontario coming to you, right?
Absolutely. So Gasport obviously not not the center of the universe, and many people don't even know where it is, but the services that we provide, the process that we invented, and what we do for these patients is so unique that people have absolutely no problem traveling to us from Toronto, from Erie, Pennsylvania, from even Albany.
You say that you can have dental implants in less than a day. Now, is that really true? Less than a day for dental implants?
It does sound sort of magical, doesn't it?
It does.
Yes, the process is really unique, and it uses patients' native bone or native tissue, so we don't rely on grafts. And by doing that and placing implants strategically and kind of joining them together with prosthesis as a brace, we can load these implants right away and give people teeth within 24 hours.
How long did it take you personally to get to the point that you are now, to the teeth now process?
Well, I've been a dentist for 30 years, and I've been in practice in New York for 25 years. And it's pretty much a lifelong journey for me. And every year I just get better, like that wine or cheese.
And there's nothing up your sleeve, right? I want to make sure we're talking about, a magic here and things like that. It is a revolutionary process. Now, it is, you talk about this happening in less than a day. Yes. Traditionally, when we're talking about dental implants, is it something that can take weeks or a month or whatever?
Traditionally, it can take months, sometimes years. So let's say a person doesn't have teeth anymore, and they have deficient bone. They have not enough bone. They would come to a doctor and they would say, well, you're either not a candidate for a procedure or you will require grafting. So grafting takes sometimes months, sometimes years. Patient doesn't have teeth all that time. They just go in toothless and they're undergoing grafting surgeries. Then after grafting, they would attempt to place implants. A lot of times the grafted bone isn't as strong, so the implants cannot be placed. So then you already wasted a whole bunch of time. You wasted a bunch of money. You had no teeth all this time, and now you're stuck with the denture anyways. So a lot of patients experience this kind of a cycle of okay, I'm not getting anywhere with this. I just spend a lot of time and money, and I'm back to where I was with the denture.
Now, when you're talking about dental implants, because I grew up, not that I have dentures, but I grew up in the age of dentures. And there was, you just see people, corn on the cob, pushing it out of the way. Right. Apples, pushing them out of the way. Caramels, pushing them out of the way. Yeah. Dental implants, can you eat all those things?
You can eat anything. With dentures, you're relying on adhesive. So a lot of people buy denture glue by a bucket, literally, and they put it in there, and the denture comes loose while they're chewing. They have to reapply the adhesive a few times throughout the meal. Dental implants, the way we do it, pretty much gives you a chewing power when we're done, when the process is all finished. Not only identical to natural teeth, but sometimes even stronger, even better. We measure their bite force, and there's actually an appliance that can measure the bite force. And their bite force is tremendous. They can bite through anything.
I think there are women in my past that really wanted me to fall asleep and then put that adhesive on my mouth so I didn't talk anymore. I don't say that works successfully. Some people are told that they're just not a candidate for dental implants. What's your response to that?
Most of the time we say, yes, you are a candidate. So the way it works, again, is we place implants into patients' native bone. So most patients that have been told that they're not candidates, the dentist only looks at the area where the teeth would go. We go to the other areas in the face, such as zygomatic areas, which is a cheekbone. There's an area behind the jaw on the upper called pterygoid plate. There's also areas inside the nose that can be used. There's called transnasal implants. So we can do all these things. I am pretty much the only dentist, the only oral implantologist in this area that is qualified to perform these procedures.
Well, for more information and answers to your questions, contact Dentistry by Dr. Kaplansky by calling 716-772-7500 or go to drkaplansky.com. Promotional and sponsorship consideration provided by the following. Hi, I'm Joe Chille. Mornings from 7 to 9 with Buffalo's classic oldies from the 60s and 70s on the Big WECK. Joining us on the Big WECK's Buffalo on the Rise today is Abdul Khalid. Abdul Khalid, I said that correct, right?
Correct.
Okay. Abdul, welcome. You're the general manager of Clay Handi. It's a restaurant, correct?
Exactly.
Pakastani
Totally.
food. You know, I'm not that familiar, but I'm very interested.
Okay.
You know, I like my food kind of spicy. Is that, yeah? So
Yes.
you'll have something that I like,
Of
right?
course, yeah.
Absolutely. All right, we want to talk about this. And is some of the way you prepare foods, is some of it old school? Is it, you know, are you using a lot of new technology? What are your basics and what do you use?
So the basics we call traditional or heritage cooking. That's
Okay.
our basics. Modernized with the use of technology and current sustainability practices to develop and prepare fresh food. So when we say what we really sell as a unique selling point, it's traditional cooking in a sustainable way.
All right, well, when I looked, I was paging through. I was stalking your website,
Thank
if you will.
you.
And I see that you cook in clay pots?
Clay pots.
Clay pots. Okay, describe this to me. I mean, I understand, and let me take this back. As I was growing up, everything was like, you know, you get Teflon, right? You know,
Yes,
Teflon, you know,
exactly.
frying pans or whatever. And then they were kind of like, well, we don't know if that's so good for you, or what if it chips off, or whatever the
Okay.
case may be. Sometimes it seems like the older methods, the more traditional methods, are better and healthier. So would you describe clay pots as being healthier?
Of course, yes. So the reason we kind of do the clay pot cooking, one thing is all of our clay pots are handmade specifically for the dishes we make in them. So every dish has kind of a clay pot that is used to make that specific dish. It's not one clay pot used to cook all the dishes. Like we have closed, narrow top for some of the steam dishes, and then we have the fry kind of dishes which use a kind of an open top. So every clay pot is handmade specifically for the type of cuisine we serve and the type of dishes we make. Now the reason why we say clay pot cooking is healthier or sustainable, one thing, clay pot cooking has been in parts of the world been used for centuries and centuries and centuries. We took the same approach and the same clay pot cooking concept from maybe 1,000 years ago and kind of used it in the new technology that we currently serve in the restaurants. So it's the same practice, same clay pot, and even one thing you might find interesting is the clay itself is different from the normal clay or sand that you find. So the cooking clay pot that we make, handmade, the clay is different, which is specific for the type of cooking.
Now you're saying you're using the same clay pots for the same dish that you're making all the time.
Yes.
Do they get seasoned?
Exactly. That's the core of cooking in clay pot. So the clay itself, it retains some type of flavor. The more you cook in the same clay pot, the more your dish gets the flavor. And when you steam it in, you get kind of like a traditional sandy, a little bit of sandy flavor, as well as the seasoning and all the aroma of the cooking, which has been done in that clay pot for many, many times.
Do they last longer than regular, utensils or things? Yeah.
Usually they last very long, but they tend to break. So our restaurants, we import and handmade a lot of clay pots to be able to handle that mortality rate. Like our pots break 5, 10, 20, 30 a day. So we always restock them. But the cooking part, we make sure we have enough clay pots that we can cook again and again. At the same time, if we need to, we replace them. So the better taste of a dish is best carried out if we use the old clay pot, which has been used multiple times, but cleaned, of course.
You're making me hungry, by saying this. All right, we only have a couple of minutes left. So can you tell us about some of the renovations that you're doing?
So we've been in business for about 12 years. We've been doing very good. So now it was the time of, as we say, do a fusion between the traditional way of cooking, which is our clay pot cooking, and modernize it by the use of technology. That is what we are doing right now at our location at Delaware Avenue in Kenmore, New York. We demolished the old building, which has been running for a while, and then now we are erecting a new building with something called immersive restaurant experience. So we, on our core of our business and a restaurant, every restaurant is selling food, we are selling experiences, right? So instead of just, we have clay pot, which is kind of a unique concept, but now this time, first time in, I think, North America, we are implementing something called immersive restaurant experience technology that incorporates your environment, your aroma, your all of your surrounding, even the sound, to match with the kind of recipe and the cuisine we serve. So the moment you step into our restaurant, you will actually feel as if you're in some other part of the world, because all of these technologies and tools, they are interconnected with our cuisine.
So it's kind of like stepping into Pakistan a little bit?
Kind of, yes, exactly.
So you get not only the aroma, the taste, you get the feeling, you get the ambiance.
Exactly.
Well, that sounds like quite the experience.
Yep, so we integrated the AI, artificial intelligence, into the display technology, into the recipes and the cooking concepts and practices that we do.
And you expect this to be done when?
We are launching for the Christmas season. Yep.
Right. Oh, that sounds great. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much, Abdul. Very much.
Thank you.
For more information and answers to your questions, contact Clay Handi Restaurant by going to clayhandi.com. Sponsorship and promotional consideration for the preceding segment was provided by Clay Handi Restaurant. And you can join me weekday morning 7 to 9 a.m. with Buffalo's classic oldies from the 60s and 70s on the Big WECK.
Thanks for watching this edition of the Big WECK Presents Buffalo on the Rise. For information on this and other shows, go to our website, bigweck.com, and find out how you can participate on the program if you're a hometown business. I'm Joe Chille. Thanks for watching and listening to the Big WECK, Buffalo's oldie station.
The Big WECK Presents Buffalo on the Rise was sponsored by Dr. Kaplansky Dental Implants. Get new permanent teeth in 24 hours with our exclusive Teeth Now process.